You can come in. Good afternoon, Miss Carter.
You can call me Star.
Okay, Star. My name is Dr. Estrada, and I specialize in psychology for minorities. Today, I'll be asking you a few questions based on what we know about your experience. We'd like to get a little in depth of how you feel, so let's get started. We're going to start off with the first question. How do you navigate the challenges and pressures of living in a racial divided society?
It's hard for me to give an opinion since I do go to a PWI and I also live in the hood. So it puts a lot of pressure on me when it comes to code switching because sometimes I feel like I'm not being my true self. Like at Williamson, I feel like I have to act not too ghetto and I have to be this type of person that I'm not. But at Garden Heights, it's either I'm acting too white and I'm just not good enough. But I try to remind myself that these challenges also give me a unique perspective and strength. I see the world from both sides and that makes me more determined to bridge to gap and fight for justice for my community.
Thank you so much for sharing that. The second question that we have is, what role does family play in your life? And how do your relationships with family members shape your actions and decisions?
I would say my family is my backbone. My mom and my dad are both very strong people and I try to do as much as I can for them. My family has been through a lot and we stick together and support each other as much as we can. My decisions are always influenced by the need to protect and uplift my family. When I see strength and resilience in my family, it brings me the courage to face my own challenges. They support me and love me.
That's great. Can you describe a time when you felt you had to stand up for yourself or others, and what impact did that have on you?
The time I stood up at the protest for Khalil was the most significant moment of my life. It was terrifying, but I knew I had to use my voice to demand justice for him. Speaking out at the protest and testifying in front of the grand jury was difficult for me, but it helped me realize the power and responsibility I have. I have the responsibility to fight against this injustice. It was a moment of realization that my voice could bring something to my community.
That's great. I'm glad that you feel like you can use your voice to speak out to bring justice to Khalil's death. The next question is, how do you feel with the expectations placed on you by your community and society?
The expectations are heavy. I have to balance being a Williamson star and Garden Heights star. I want to show my community that we can be more than what society expects us to be. At Williamson, I feel the pressure to represent my race in a certain way, while at Garden Heights, there are different expectations about loyalty and authenticity. I lean on my family and friends for support, and I remind myself that it's okay to be different in different spaces. There's a lot to handle, but it also makes me want to break down those barriers and prove that I can succeed in both of those worlds.
The next question is, what are your thoughts on the importance of having a voice and being heard in your community?
Having a voice is crucial. It's everything. I've seen how speaking out can bring change and how silence can complicate things. Using my voice for Khalil meant something to my community and it became something very powerful. It's not just about me, but it's about standing up for those who can't. And it's about being heard and making sure that our stories and struggles aren't ignored. And that's what I wanted to do for Khalil.
Star, I'm very glad that you can use your voice to be able to stand up for people who are no longer able to. The next question is, how do past experiences and personal history influence your current outlook on life and the choices that you make?
Witnessing the deaths of Khalil and Natasha has made me more aware and more determined from out of the screen. Witnessing the deaths of Khalil and Natasha has made me more aware and more determined to fight against injustice. It's made me realize the importance of using my voice and standing up for what's right. I was afraid to do that in the beginning of when Khalil died. But knowing that I had to make a difference and do something right for Khalil brought me the need to want to.
Thank you for speaking out on stuff that is important to you and your community. It was very nice to interview you, and I hope that we can have another interview soon.
Thank you.
Please close the door behind you. Come in. Mr. Maxson, please have a seat. My name is Dr. Estrada, and I specialize in psychology for minorities. Today, I'll be asking you a few questions based on what we know about your experience. We'd like to get a little in depth of how you feel, so let's get started. We're going to start off with the first question. How do you navigate the challenges and pressures of living in a racial divided society?
And I just do what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter if we're divided, it's always gonna be like that. The world outside might be divided, but in my home, I make the rules. It's about survival. Sometimes that means ignoring the broader societal issues and focusing on the challenges in front of me. I ain't going away, so I make sure it doesn't break me or my family.
Okay, the second question is, what role does family play in your life, and how do your relationship with family members shape your actions and decisions?
To me, family is everything. Even if I don't show it all the time, I work hard every day to provide for my family. My relationships, especially with my son Corey, is complicated. I push Corey hard because I don't want him to make the same mistakes I made. I want him to have a better life, but I also know it's not easy out here and he needs to be tougher. My relationship with Rose, my woman, is the bedrock of my life. Although I messed up, I do it for them. They shape my actions and decisions because I want to give them a life better than the one I had. My past has taught me that family is the only thing you really have, and I'll do whatever it takes to protect and provide for them.
Thank you. The next question is, can you describe a time when you felt you had to stand up for yourself or others, and what impact did that have on you?
I had to stand up for myself every day at work. Being a black man working for white men, I had to fight to get the same things as the white men. There was a time when I had to fight to let them have me drive the garbage truck instead of just lifting the trash. Standing up for myself in that situation made me feel better about myself. I fought against the system. It wasn't just about the job, it was about dignity and respect. That taught me that you can't wait for change to come to you, you gotta have to demand it.
I understand. The next question is, how do you deal with the expectations placed on you by your community and your society?
I don't let no expectations bother me. I got my own way of doing things and that's how it's gonna be. The world has its rules and I have mine. The expectations from this world are unfair and not real, especially for a black man. So I focus on what I can control, providing for my family and doing my job. I set my own standards and live by them. It's about not letting the pressures of the outside world dictate my actions.
The last question is, how do past experiences and personal history influence your current outlook on life and the choices that you make?
My past had made me tough, growing up with nothing and fighting for everything I got. It made me into a man who doesn't take no for an answer. My daddy was a harsh man. Life experiences taught me to rely on myself and to be relentless in my pursuit of survival. I faced a lot of discrimination and hardship, but it made me into who I am as a black man. My choices are always about survival and making sure my family doesn't go through what I went through. Everything I've got, I've earned through my hard work.
Thank you so much for being able to share your experience with your family and your life. I'm very glad that we were able to have this interview, and I hope that it will help us in the psychology group for minorities. You can step out. Please close the door behind you.
My daddy was hard.
Walk in, fuck mother.
Fucking mama. No, brother.
Star. Please call me Star.
You can come in. Good
I will
afternoon.
give you the world, baby girl.
You can come in. You can come in.
I will give you the world, baby girl.
Thumbs up. You can come in.
I will give you the world.
Hey!